I know Thursday night, Jets-Browns doesn't quite have the same luster to it as it might have had earlier in the year when it was possible Rodgers-Watson. But we're going to get Flacco and Simeon this weekend. Hey, don't look now, but Joe Flacco looks pretty darn good. But the irony is last year he was on the Jets, leading them on a comeback against the Browns. Now he's on the Browns facing the Jets Thursday night, but you think points are at a premium here?
Yeah, I think points are at a premium, guys. Our FTM model, when you've had a double-digit edge or higher, hitting at 70% this year. We just got to 70 based off a 3-1 week last week. We like the under 36.5 here. Project for a 16.1% edge. That's a 71% probability of winning. We actually have this game around 28 points, and you can see why it is. It's a Thursday game. You have Jets, you have Browns, two good defenses here, offenses that can struggle. And what you've seen, guys, we talked about this last week, Joe Flacco playing well. Amari Cooper won people fantasy leagues, but still the turnovers are there. So this is a big game for the Browns. They're going to want the 3 seed. They're going to want to get a nice home field advantage in the playoffs. I don't think they're taking a lot of chances here. So we know the Jets struggles on offense. We know the Browns defense. And I think the Browns have a very conservative plan here. Pace, everything lines up. 16% edge here at FTN, under 36.5 on the Thursday night game.
One of the highest totals of the NFL season, a game that will take place on Saturday night between the Cowboys and the Lions. And, Mike, you've got to play here on the total, and tell us what side you like on this total and why.
Yeah, let's start with the total here, guys. We have a massive edge projected at under 53.5. And I've come on each of the last 2 weeks, and we've discussed good teams playing in low-scoring games. We talked about this when we ended up having Dallas play a close game last couple of weeks when they played Buffalo. The totals get inflated because you see that the Lions have a great offense, you see that the Cowboys have a great offense, and you totally disregard the fact that if this is a close game, more than likely later in the year where teams are more conservative, a lot more in the line, they're not going to take as many chances. We project this game here. We're going to go under 53.5. Sure, both offenses are going to score, but we think it's going to be very close. So we have a big edge projected here. Now, the double-digit edge, again, have hit 70% on the under 53.5.
You know, Jared, he makes a great point on this one when you look at it. The Cowboys against the Bills, game stays under. Dolphins game against the Cowboys really struggled there.
That was a phone booth game.
Absolutely. And Mike, real quick, I want to pose this question to you. I said to Jared earlier, if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, you're not going to win this division if we're being realistic. Why not just potentially look at resting guys? I mean, to me, you're going to end up being the 5 seed realistically. I know coaches don't want to think from that perspective, but you're playing a tough Detroit team who could really use this game to get to the 1 seed potentially if things break right.
Yeah, and I think the other issue, too, is the Cowboys are starting to show – everybody shows their weakness as we get to the end of the year. Buffalo basically ran it down their throat, and you heard Joe Brady, new offensive coordinator, said that was not the game plan coming in. But once James Cook had that success, we just keep going. So they're getting pushed around a lot here. So they need a physical performance on both sides of the ball, which lends to the under. They want to win. They have to get going here. Jerry World at home is not going to want to lose another game in a row. But the question is, they're going to be lighting up the scoreboard against a good Lions team. We don't think so.
Yeah, and you're going to hear a lot, Dallas is back at home. Everything's fine again. Well, yeah, we'll see how that all plays out. Usually the best time to bet on a team is when everyone is naysaying them, Mike, and that seems to be the case with Kansas City at home this week against Cincinnati.
Oh, we laugh about this one. I call this a mother of God game. I think the Chiefs are going to roll in this matchup. I have not liked the Bengals all year long. I just think the regression was supposed to happen last year. They got off to a slow start, then Burrow does what he does. But there's no Burrow there. Chase is injured. The ground game has struggled, and I have not liked their defense all year. 24th per DVOA. Aaron Schatz here at FTN, defensive DVOA. Don't like the Bengals whatsoever. I think the Chiefs roll here. They've been struggling. Kelsey, wide receivers can't get open, but I think it's a bounce-back spot against an inferior team. Chiefs have a lot to play for. Bengals not as much in this matchup.
I just want to stay on this matchup for a second, Mike. And to me, I don't understand. The Raiders were catching 10.5 in a division game. Remember, they had a 14-0 lead in Las Vegas. The Chiefs stormed back in the second half. But I pointed out earlier today that the Chiefs now, in 8 of their 15 games, have scored 21 points or less. I don't understand why this number is 3.5 points shorter than it was against the Raiders team that's been far more competitive in spots than the Bengals have been.
Yeah, it's very true. I just think people also regress them all to the back of the card, like Bill Parcells used to say. Jake Browning is Jake Browning, and I think he's played real well, and people had confidence in him. Now we're going the other way. I just don't think people are analyzing how poor this defense is. You're going to have to control the ball. Kansas City at home is still going to score points unless you bring a strong defensive front, which the Bengals do not. I just think they're going to take shots. Andy Reid's going to get it right. They're frustrated. They need a win. bounce back spot for the Chiefs, or the Bengals continue their mojo with a backup quarterback and a potential backup wide receiver, which Chase is injured. I just can't buy it.
It's such a unique spot because on the surface, these teams do not like each other, but obviously these are not the same iterations of these teams that have faced each other in the playoffs for the last 2 years. So we'll see if Kansas City, probably not going to take it easy on Cincinnati if things aren't going well this week. Tough game to handicap here in the AFC South. Tennessee at Houston. Line sitting Houston minus 3.5 right now, but quarterback stuff on both sides. I think Will Levis will play. He almost played last week but didn't. It was Tannehill, and they played really well. And on the other side, we think we're going to get C.J. Stroud back this week, but a lot of question marks on both sides of this game.
Yeah, this is based on Stroud coming back. If Stroud doesn't come back, then this bet is off. But we have a 12.2% edge, again, double-digit edge on Houston laying the points here against Tennessee. Now, guys, the flip-flop rule, and Amal will tell you this in college basketball, usually holds where one team wins at one spot and the other team wins at the other spot. However, Houston needs this game badly. They're healthy. Nico Collins will be back. The Tennessee defense has struggled against the pass. I don't know who's playing quarterback. You saw Vrabel disgusted with Ryan Tannehill the way that game ended against Seattle. They're just struggling. And the Houston defense was able to bottle up Derrick Henry. I don't want to sell Henry short. I don't want to sell Vrabel short on the road here. 4-2 as a road underdog in the division. Vrabel has been with Tennessee. This is not the same iteration, though, of the Titans, guys. And I don't know who's at quarterback. I think Stroud is coming back. If he does, in a game with a solid defense, DeMeco Ryans, they already beat them here with Case Keenum, backup quarterback 2 weeks ago. We will lay the 3.5 points here. If it gets to 3 or under, I would love it even more because of the hook. But we have a 12% edge on Houston minus 3.5 in this matchup.
Plus 6.5 on the Detroit Lions taking on the Cowboys. You already like the under in this game at 53.5, and you like the Lions catching 6.5 here.
Yeah, the Lions are a balanced team, and they're going to be able to run on the Cowboys. And Jared Goff is not outside in this matchup, and you know the stats. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, they should be able to move the ball here, and the front for Detroit is legit. So as much as the Cowboys need this win, there's a lot of pressure. Cowboys haven't been great at running the ball with Tony Pollard this year, so they become a little bit one-dimensional against a good Detroit team. Again, marry the under that we like with the points and the underdog. Always a nice matchup. We like Detroit here, double-digit advantage here at FTN.
Definitely going to be an interesting game in Buffalo this week. Of course, the Bills still have everything to play for. I think the timing of the game, it's the same as the Dolphins-Ravens game. So, if Miami wins that game or if loses that game, it'll trend in a good direction for Buffalo. But you think this is too many points to lay for Josh Allen at home?
Yeah, I think it's too many points, guys, because look at what Bill Belichick has done. As much as we're burying him and he may not be with the team next year, this defense is playing well and they're causing problems. They're still great against opposing wide receiver ones, so they should limit Stephon Diggs. This is a rivalry game. You saw him beat them once without throwing a pass with Mac Jones. I mean, the idea that Buffalo is just going to steamroll them. Guys, they didn't steamroll Easton Stick in the Chargers here. So now you're going against at home. I get it. I understand. But 12 points is way too much. Covering double-digit spreads late in the season is very challenging, especially in the division, especially when it's their matchup now they're familiar with. And you're talking about the greatest coach in the history of NFL, who everyone buried. And, oh, by the way, they got a nice win there against Denver. I think it's too many points. We have an 11.4% edge here for the Patriots plus 12.5.
I had no idea Bill Walsh was coaching the Patriots, but okay. Anyway, let's go to one more play here. Tampa taking on, the Carolina Panthers taking on Jacksonville this weekend. It's already projecting out to Week 18. Panthers catching 7 in this spot against a Jacksonville team that's lost 4 in a row and really in disarray right now, Mike.
Yeah, they are in disarray, but the Panthers' defense has been legit. Since the coaching change, they've been able to pressure the quarterback. They got their cornerback back, so they're able to defend against passes. They're getting pressure as well. You're going to have this game. You're going tough matchup here with Carolina, but Carolina getting 7 points, that's a touchdown. You want to tease it up to get to 13, that's fine. We think the Panthers here are going to be close to covering. We have a 13.3% edge, probably our third highest on the week, with Carolina getting 7 here. Wow. So we'll grab those points. Everyone's going to gravitate to the Jaguars, but are we sure the Jaguars here have solved all their problems? They seem in disarray on offense, have really struggled. Travis Etienne a little banged up. So as much as the Panthers' offense has struggled, they've been able to run the ball. They've been getting a little bit better, and the Panthers' defense is one of the most underrated units in the NFL.
Yeah, you might see that one go off 7 if Lawrence is an out, because he's TBD right now, and I'm assuming he's going to play, but you never know. You might wait a little longer. You might get a better number with Carolina, but I certainly like your angle. It'll be interesting to see how Denver comes out this week. Of course, they get the Chargers at home. The total sitting in the high 30s. What's your angle here, Mike?
Yeah, guys, football does not have to be hard. Let's look at the Chargers and Denver here. 28 and 29th in defensive DVOA. These teams are not good. They struggle on defense. They struggle getting pressure. Denver here, frustrated off the last week. Chargers with Easton Stick looked a little bit better. Throw in the fact that Keenan Allen could return. We like the over here in this matchup. If you look at the edge that we have here, like I said, our totals have been hot, 70%. We have a projected edge between these two teams of 15.3% on the total. Their second highest total edge this week, over 38.5. For some reason, people like these unders here with the Chargers. Defense can't stop anyone. The offense is getting better. So give me the Chargers Broncos over 38.5.
Yeah, you mentioned it. One of the worst pass defenses in the National Football League. That Chargers pass defense has been anemic. Mike, from your perspective right now, anybody that stands out to you, whether in the AFC or the NFC, just from a team perspective, not necessarily statistically based, but just kind of gut feel or you feel confident in as we get towards January in the postseason?
Absolutely. It's the Bills, guys. The Bills have been rolling. They're hot. You're seeing warts with all the teams across the board here. Now Brock Purdy, all of a sudden, everybody's jumping off San Francisco's bandwagon. Our Aaron Schatz, who is great at predicting with his DVOA and his predictions in terms of who's going to make the Super Bowl. Last year he mentioned the Eagles. No one believes him. This year he said Niners and Bills, and he has not changed on that. I think Buffalo is getting hot. You remember all those Packers teams with Aaron Rodgers as a 6th seed. They got hot. They made the NFC Championship or made the Super Bowl. Bills look like that because certainly the Chiefs have trouble. You're concerned about the Jaguars. There's questions across the board. Don't look now. Here come the Bills. I know Miami looks good also, and so does Baltimore, but don't sleep on Buffalo here. When we count them out, could this be the year that they, quote, circle the wagons? It's possible.
It would be wild after all Buffalo has been through. They were the Super Bowl favorite preseason, right? Yeah. And to hit the bottom, and then if they were able to ascend to that level, it would be one of the most fantastic narratives in the NFL in recent years. Speaking of narratives, last night we got the game of the year. It looked like one team was ready, one team was not. Is there a spot for San Francisco that the bottom, does it keep falling, or was last night as bad as we're going to see the Niners play all season?
Guys, you know how it is. It's always the opposite of what everybody thinks. So now all of a sudden, the sky is falling. Brock Purdy's terrible. No, he's not. This team is still talented. It's McCaffrey, Ayuk, Kittle, Debo. They're loaded across the board. If anything, this gave us a little bit of value here. Yep. Not saying Brock Purdy should be MVP. I'm not. In my opinion, guys, it's Tyreek Hill. You want to go Lamar Jackson, I'm fine with that also. But Brock Purdy is still a part of a very successful system with Kyle Shanahan. Don't give up on the Niners just yet. I like Bills Niners. I like what Aaron predicted here at FTN.
Wow.
It's a great prediction. Real quick.
Circle the wagons, baby.
To recap Mike's plays, Jets Browns under 36.5, Cowboys Lions under 53.5, Chargers Broncos over 38.5, Lions plus 6.5, Panthers plus 7, Patriots plus 12.5, Texans minus 3.5 if C.J. Stroud, your Rookie of the Year, plays, and the Chiefs minus 7. And Mike, I love your call. I do think it's going to be an explosion by the Chiefs against the Bengals there. My friend, we always appreciate the time. Mike Randle, Chief Content Officer at FTN Network. You can find him on Twitter at RandleRant. Mike, have yourself a safe and happy New Year, my friend.
Same, guys. Always a pleasure. Happy New Year.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.